Big news for you again today in the Lynette Hooker investigation. First and foremost, let me say this. If you have seen headlines anywhere that say that the Coast Guard has concluded their work into this missing persons case and this investigation, it is so not true. Like a hundo. It is not true. It is so on that I can tell you right now, the Coast Guard would have brought all that stuff back. The dinghy, the other evidence that was retrieved from the Royal Bahamian Police Force, everything that they acquired on their 4-day trip. I get it, not Lynette's remains. That was a big disappointment to a lot of us that they didn't find her, but it was absolutely worthwhile according to my sources. That trip brought back a lot of very telling evidence. And so the way it typically works in my line of work, I get this, I've done this a million times, is now you need time to process it, right? And that takes time. It takes paperwork. There might be a moment of quiet for a while, but it sure as F does not mean that this is over. I'm hearing the exact opposite. It's ramping up. If this were over, all that evidence would be given back, right? That evidence would be given back. It's not being given back. It is in impound in the Southern District in Florida, okay? So that's huge. And you gotta ask yourself, why did the federal investigators with the Coast Guard Investigative Service, why did they ask for DNA after they seized Soulmate? You know, the 46-foot Morgan where Brian and Lynette had been living for the last 4 years on board this lovely sailboat? Did they find something on board that boat? Something to contemplate, and maybe something we're gonna learn in the near future. And Lynette's husband? Nothing. Never lifted a finger. Instead, fled the Bahamas. Right after he said he would never leave until he'd helped to find her. It would take a higher power to get him to leave the Bahamas without his wife. The higher power was an airplane the next day. In my line of work, that's called consciousness of guilt. And if there's a trial, I'm not saying there's going to be a trial. He's not charged with anything yet. But if and when a jury hears this stuff, that's called consciousness of guilt. And that's very, very powerful because jurors do not check their common sense at the door when they deliberate. And their standard is reasonable doubt. Reasonable. What's reasonable in all this? What's reasonable behavior? What's reasonable? None of what Brian Hooker is doing is reasonable.